Hello friends, I'm Nitin Parmar from ProTalent. Today I'm going to talk about one very important aspect with respect to our CAT exam, that is whether to attempt a particular question or not. That is the big thing we are going to talk about today. A lot of us have a lot of problem with respect to understanding this issue. Let me explain this in little detail. Now, what is the ideal process of attempting question with every one of us? What do? We first see the question, we read the question. When we are reading the question, side by side, we are noting down important information, developing our mind how to attack this particular question, what strategy, what concept, what fundamental will be applicable, and then we start solving it. Either we solve it, or we skip it, or we mark for review. These three options are available. Let us assume that we are, solving it. Now what happens when we are solving it? Either we are answering, that means we are getting answer for that, or possibly we are putting all our efforts, even after that we are not able to get the answer. Now it is very important that in this process, that is looking at a question, reading and analyzing, noting down the information will take somewhere around 10-15 seconds, and then when we start solving it, then it will going to take a minute or 2 or 3 sometimes. So we have to understand this aspect, that if I need to attempt this question or not. That is very important, because once I start attempting a question and I am not able to get answer, that means I am wasting a lot of time. So how do I move ahead? Now primarily, first and foremost, how do I decide whether not to attempt? Number 1, do not leave a question without reading it. Do not leave a question without reading it. Read it, you read it and then skip it. That's okay. That's acceptable. Okay? Because you know that you don't know that. Okay? Another issue is when you read it, you solve it, and then there is no solution is coming. Then what should I do? That's a big worry people have. The simple thing we have to understand in this scenario is, number 1, our mindset is not working there in a right manner. So what should I do? Ideally, leave it. Then you must be having certain problem in your mind, or certain worry in your mind, that what about that kind of time I have invested in? You have invested 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Then you should know a concept called, sunk cost. What do you mean by sunk cost? Sunk cost is very simple. The kind of time you have invested in a particular question, and then you don't know how to progress further, then you have to forget about those 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Why? Because they are not going to come back. What you need to worry about is the next 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Are you going to get a right answer for that or not? I think you should leave it. Always keep a very hard deadline for yourself. What is the meaning of hard deadline? Hard deadline is a very simple thing. That means, let's say you are attempting a particular question, and by the time 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you are not getting any clue about the particular question. Leave that question. There is no need to stick to that question. Sometimes people stick to a particular question for some around 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Especially in DILR kind of questions, people actually waste 15-20 minutes on a particular set. So you have to be very careful when to leave, when not to leave it. Rule of thumb, remember, you answer or you solve a particular question when you are sure enough. When you are sure to answer, only then mark, otherwise leave it. Few things keep in mind. Number 1, do not have preconceived notion that this particular section is good for me, or this particular type of questions are not comfortable for me, or let's say I need to get so many marks and therefore I need to solve every question. lot of preconceived notion we have. Please understand, as and when the kind of questions come to you, you try and solve them rather than worrying a lot about your preconceived notion. Okay. Second point is, your objective is to maximize your score, not to maximize on a particular question, or do not make a particular question as your ego issue. Okay. So keep that in mind. Once again, I'll repeat the idea, that is hard deadline. You should always keep with yourself that within a particular time limit you have to leave a particular question. Have a concept of sunk cost, and also focus on your objective of maximizing your score. I hope that will be very useful to you. All the best. Thank you.